We all know it's impossible to be in two places at one time.
Yeah, tonight we want to know how a local law enforcer can be paid his public salary, nearly $85,000 a year, while also working another job, a side job, protecting a rock legend. Here's our news investigation.
Paul McCartney still takes his show on the road.
It's hard for me to imagine a guy 75 years old still playing the guitar, but
at some of his concerts, he's protected by a local law enforcer.
Oh my goodness.
But while this man with a badge travels with Sir Paul in Brazil, Canada, and Las Vegas,
it's pretty shocking.
Records show taxpayers have been paying him to be in his office in Gretna, Louisiana.
He's essentially absent without leave.
Gretna citizens have paid Anthony Christiana's salary for 31 years. The longtime policeman has risen through the ranks, now the #2 man in the Gretna Police Department, the deputy chief of police.
Who's he accountable to? Apparently nobody.
July 14th, 2013, Christiana posted on Facebook, he's coming home soon from being out there. That's the name of the McCartney tour. This was the best tour yet. Flight records show Christiana left July 5th, returned the 16th, missed 6 days of work, but according to his pay stub, didn't use one vacation day. Thursday, November 20th, 2014, records show Christiana took a flight to Brazil and returned the day after Thanksgiving. Facebook pictures show Christiana made the trip. On November 26th, he posted this, have been on the Out There tour, 5 great shows concluding tonight. Christiana missed 4 days of work, but again, didn't use 1 day of vacation.
You consider this stealing?
Absolutely. You're being paid for something you're not providing. That's stealing.
You think this is against the law, what's happening?
Absolutely it is.
That 8-day trip in November of 2014 was the second trip to Brazil that month. Flight records show Christiana left November 2nd and returned the 16th. His Facebook post confirms he made the trip to Brazil. According to flight records, he missed 10 days of work. His paychecks show he only used 6.75 days of vacation. So in the month of November of 2014, Christiana spent as many as 14 workdays in Brazil, but only took 6.75 days of vacation. If you do the math, taxpayers paid $2,500, his salary for that time period, for Christiana to protect Sir Paul.
It could be fraud. It could be a criminal fraud if you're taking property inappropriately, a government property, which is pay for not working.
We found more examples, pictures of a September 2013 concert in California, an April 2014 tour in South America, Christiana not using vacation for most of the days he spent out of town, sometimes out of the country.
It's kind of blatant about it. It's not, it doesn't even require your usual undercover work. It's just right out there. Shocking, it seems to me.
But there's more. Our questions about Christiana aren't limited to his work for Paul McCartney. October 2013, Christiana traveled to Las Vegas. A Facebook post showed he went to see an Elton John concert. Flight records show Christiana was gone for 3 days of work, but he didn't use 1 vacation day. So taxpayers wrote Christiana a check for $1,000 to spend a long weekend in Las Vegas. In November of 2013, Christiana went on a Caribbean cruise. Facebook pictures of him leaving were dated November 9th. November 18th, he posted he was on his way home. 6 days away from work, not 1 day of vacation used. The cost to taxpayers, $2,000.
Well, I do know that he's traveled. I do know that he has done work for individuals in dignitary protection. I don't keep track of his travel schedule or no. I mean, I do know that. Do I see the pay stubs or the paychecks? No, I couldn't tell you what mine looks like. I don't even look at it. My wife gets it.
Christiana's boss, Gretna Police Chief Arthur Lawson, says Christiana has been doing dignitary protection for 15 years. He runs a side company, Christiana and Associates. Lawson says Christiana doesn't accrue comp time.
Does he tell you that he's putting in vacation?
Well, yes.
He told you he put in vacation?
Yes.
For any time he's out of town?
When he goes out of town on the trips, vacation time is put in by the girl in the office. He told me that the standard procedure when he goes out of town, that the girl puts in the days, yes.
And he tells her what days to put in?
I don't know that
I mean,
specifically.
how does the girl, whoever the girl is, how does the girl know which
Well, I'm
day?
assuming he tells her.
He gets a pay stub every 2 weeks.
Sure.
I mean, you can tell if your vacation's getting deducted or not.
Yeah, I'm sure if you check it, I guess you would see something. I don't know
it
whether.
shows that it's not.
Right.
Lawson says Christiana told him another reason for the discrepancies.
From my understanding, it may not be the same payroll period.
Christiana is telling Lawson he deducts his vacation. It just may not be in the pay period where he traveled. But according to the records, that may not be true. For example, in 2013, Christiana took a July trip to Canada, September to Los Angeles, October to Las Vegas, November to the Caribbean, but never used one vacation day during that time period. And he never deducted the vacation from a future payroll period that year. Lawson says if Christiana does Gretna Police work on vacation, he can use that time as credit against his vacation.
It's not a 9-to-5 job or a 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah, but if you're gone for 2 weeks in Brazil and you don't put in any vacation, I mean, come on.
Oh, well, and I can tell you
If you're on a
this.
cruise for a week and a half and you don't put in a day of vacation, come on.
Right. Well, and I mean, those are the things we need to verify and see.
Now the problem is not just with the assistant, but with the chief. I mean, the chief has an obligation to the city that his police officers, including the assistant who's a police officer and who's being paid by the city, is on the job for which he's being paid.
Remember that November 2013 Caribbean cruise? According to this Facebook picture, the chief, Arthur Lawson, made the trip with Christiana. We also found a picture of them traveling together in California's wine country.
You've traveled with him before.
Yes, sure. I've traveled with a lot of people, yeah.
This is a friend of yours. You've worked with him for 31 years. How do we know you're going to be fair here?
Well, I think my reputation in 41 years in law enforcement will tell you that I'll be fair, and you can speak to individuals in the community. I've fired people that have been friends of mine. I've closed businesses of people that have been friends of mine. You know, that's not an issue, but it's also an issue to verify each of these things before we jump to any conclusion.
Christiana's payroll records show he didn't use one day of vacation or sick leave in 2015. In 2013, we have records that show he traveled 26 workdays, but only used 6.75 days of vacation for the entire year. For that 1 year, nearly $6,700 of salary paid to Christiana while he was out of the office.
Of course I'm concerned that any time there's an accusation that of something, particularly payroll or things like that with our department and tax dollars, of course it's a concern. It's something we need to look into and see.
Christiana has more than 200 unused vacation days in his bank. Under department policy, he's allowed to accrue unused time. He has two options with it. First, he can cash it in for half the value, which would cost taxpayers $34,000. Or he may be able to use the vacation before he leaves his job.
The whole point here may be accruing this vacation for which there is no max. When he's ready to retire, he can perhaps not report to work 6 months before his official retirement date and draw full salary.
CPA Patrick Lynch says ultimately taxpayers could be hit twice. Once by paying Christiana for working when he's out of town, and a second time when he actually uses or cashes in the vacation.
I think the citizens of Gretna need to hold the entire police department accountable.
The Gretna Police Department is guided by a code of ethics that recognizes the badge as a symbol of public faith, public trust.
The fact that it's happened over and over again suggests it's not an innocent mistake. It's a pattern.
A Gretna Police policy on expenses states whoever shall receive an allowance or reimbursement by means of false claims shall be subjected to immediate dismissal, as well as being criminally and civilly liable. Now it's up to this longtime police chief to figure out if his top lieutenant is picking the protection of Paul McCartney over protecting the public fisc of the citizens of Gretna.
He needs to make restitution, deduct it out of his bank, and I think that's grounds for dismissal. I'm not an attorney, but he wouldn't work for me anymore.
We reached out to Christiana multiple times and asked for an interview. We wanted to see if he had any explanation as to why he didn't claim vacation. He declined our requests. The flight information we received was given to us by a source. None of the flights was paid for by taxpayers. Christiana or his company paid those bills. You can see more on this investigation as well as our other investigations on fox8live.com.